Hello. So you have implemented your web services. Now you want to test them to see if they are working okay. Um, what I'm going to show you now how you can test them manually using Swagger. So the first thing you need to do is basically to launch the server. Okay. And Swagger is installed in the development mode. So in development, you cannot actually use Swagger in production, but in development, you can access Swagger and test the web services. Okay, so it's starting the server, and now it's finished. But okay, it's finished there. Now I go to a browser and I access 8080 and I access in the URL Swagger UI HTML, and now I need to access to the documentation, which is API doc. Okay, and here you see all the web services that are available. So I want to see our get dashboard. So let's try to find it. Get dashboard web service. Get dash. I think it's only dashboard. Okay, here. In the dashboard controller, we have our service. Look, it's the students, dashboards, execution, and the course execution ID as a path variable. I can observe what are the values that you expect here in the course execution. So you need to receive a course execution ID, looks there. And the type of responses you can receive. You receive a 200 if everything okay, and we receive this JSON object that actually corresponds to the DTO. So that's basically the service, the web service returns, and then the Spring converts to a JSON, and you receive a JSON object here, okay? And if it is a bad request, you get this JSON. If it is forbidden, basically indicates that you don't have the correct privileges, or either you are not authenticated or you don't have authorization. And so it's a 403 and a 500 is an internal service server. And what is nice with the Swagger, you can even try it. So you can invoke these in the server. So let's invoke it, and okay, and you receive, you do execute. Oh, it requires this. So let's suppose that this is the ID of the course execution, and I receive 403. So because I'm not authenticated, so you receive this message, you don't have permission to view this resource. So I need to authenticate, and Swagger allows me to authenticate. So I'm going to authenticate using the auth controller, and I'm going to authenticate with as a demo student. So to authenticate, you don't need a token because it's authentication, then you get the token. So this is the web service I'm invoke, and I need to provide the information to say whether in this authentication I'm going to create a new demo student or use the one that exists, but let's keep it, and I'm gonna try it, and let's say that I don't want a new one, and I execute. Okay, when I execute, it returns 200, so it's successful, and I get here the token. Look, the token and all the information that it returns when actually, so this is JSON, when you actually do a login as a student. What another information that is important here, because I'm going to use it afterwards to get the dashboard, is what is the course execution ID that is there, and this is 131. Okay, but what is now really relevant is that I need to pick this token that the server sends to the client, and I need to include it. I need to include this token in all my requests. So I go to authorize, I put the token there, and I say authorize. Okay, now it looks like I'm logged in. Okay, and now all the requests I'm gonna Do will use this token. So I can do authentication, and then let's check if the authorization works. So now I can return to the dashboard, and now let's try to execute it. And I see dashboard controller, and the course execution ID is 131, and I basically invoke it. Now I was successful because I got 200 return, and I get the information of DDO with the ID. So the dashboard ID is 62, and is the information about the last checked failed answers, last checked difficult questions, and last checked weekly scores. So here you can basically easily, when you define a web service, to check if it is working. So you just launch the server, and Swagger is very, very helpful. Actually, it works as kind of documentation, live and executable documentation of your web services. Okay.